Welcome to CrossYoga and this slow class. I'm still Ria and happy to see you here. Who do you think God is? If you were to describe God in a picture, an image, what would God look like? Or if God had a color, what would it be? These questions about God and who God is what we'll dive into as we practice our yoga today. So find a comfortable seated position if you haven't already. Erect your spine towards the sky and close your eyes. One image of God could be air. The air you inhale, the air that brings life to your body, you can't live without it. The air that's invisible, but still somehow very tangible. Three slow, deep breaths before we move and warm up our spine. Let your hands find prayer pose. You're in front of your chest. Again, sit tall. Maybe take your shoulders up and back and down. God, come. Whatever it is, whoever you are, move, breathe within us. Let's just sit here. Turn to your left side, twisting your shoulders. Coming back to center. And twisting to the other side. And maybe you follow your breath. Exhale as you twist. Inhale as you come back to center. Welcome to involve your arms as well. As you twist, you open up your arms to the side. Palms together at the center. Noticing if you lean back, and if you do, sit a little bit taller, sitting bones on the mat. One more time to each side. Back to center. Tabletop. Fold your mat if you like to have extra cushion under the knee joint. Spread out your fingers. Stack wrist and shoulder. And you can do small cat-cows here if that's your place to start today. And if you want to move a little bit further, you can involve right leg and left arm. So reach out, right leg, left arm. And as you do your cat, your elbow and knee reach each other. But as you extend your leg and arm out, go for a straight spine. No cow there. Few more. Lots of core involvement here, which is good for our well-being. One last time here. Fingers down on the mat. Roll back. Release any wrist pain you might have or tension on your wrist. Before we continue, either go with your cat-cow or be more creative going from side to side if you don't want to do your left leg left leg, just the opposite as before. Again, knee and elbow in, shoulder up. Inhale as you extend. And exhale as you crunch, kinda. One more time. And down on the floor. Now take your fingers and point them towards your knees. Make sure that the wrist is down and your elbows are bent in towards your knee, and then stretch that arm, that soft part of the lower arm. Release. Hands out to the side, downward facing dog. Move your leg, one leg at the time. If you have a tendency of gliding on your mat, you might roll the top end of the mat and just hold on to that. Can you feel your calves, your hamstrings moving? And walk your feet to the front of the mat. Fold forward, make sure you bend your knees as much as you need. One last sequence of warming up, mountain pose. Shoulders up, back and down. Inhale, your arms out to the side, the big circle, palms meet. Slight bend in your knees as you forward fold. Fingers reaching down, front of your toes here. Right leg steps back end of the mat, and maybe you scooch that front foot a little bit further to the front. We're going to go into high lunge. Stack knee and ankle on the front foot and rise up. Try to bend the back knee to get the pelvis tucked underneath yourself. Taking your arms out to the side and maybe just leaning a little bit to the front. Arms up again, straight spine. Before you go all the way down, fingers reach the mat, step the back foot to meet the front. Fold forward. And that's it. Inhale, high mountain. Exhale, prayer pose. Again, inhale. Circle your arms. Exhale, prayer pose, bent down in your forward fold. Lift up halfway so you release your left leg, able to move that back. Heel off the mat, sink your hip down. Look to the front, and when you're ready to let go of the floor, rise your arms up. Take your shoulders down. Again, option of bending the back knee. It's better to bend the back knee than to doing this arch, this bend in your lower back the whole time. Arms down. Maybe throw your thumbs a little bit out and back as you lean a little bit forward. Core engaged. Subtle engagement. Straight spine again, hands up. And then find the floor. Lean forward. Still hip width apart between the feet. Fold down. One more time on each side. Rise up. And let's go straight into your forward fold again. Lift up, right leg up and back. Lower the foot down. Look to the front as you lean your hip down. Rise your arms up. Lean forward, take your fingers out and back. Again, rising your arms towards the sky. Maybe your gaze goes there as well. Fold forward, fingers on the mat, step the back foot to the front. Fold forward. Rise up, high mountain. Ready to the last time through. Forward fold. Lift your chest off your thighs. Your left leg moves back. Rise up, high lunge. Lean a little bit forward. Subtle engagement in the core as you lean forward, stretching your arms up and back, engagement of the shoulders. Arms up again, straight spine. Fingers on the mat. Step to the front and fold forward. High mountain, hands all over your head and into prayer pose in front of your chest. Catch your breath, deepen your breath if you're able. Close your eyes. And as you're standing here, listen to 2 verses from the Old Testament where God is speaking to Moses. Actually, by this burning bush. And God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are going to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. God also said to Moses, say to the Israelites, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me to you. So this is God's description of himself. I am who I am. What does that mean to you? And of course, it's fine if it doesn't mean anything. I'll get back to this again. I know we'll not get into depth with every question I'm asking, but it's okay. It will stay with you. Now sink a little bit down in your knees as you were supposed to go into your chair pose. We're going to wrap the right foot above the other so that you get into eagle pose. Either just take one leg above and stay here, or wrap the foot all the way around if you can. Remember to bend the knees to be able to stay here. Squeeze the inner thighs. Notice if your shoulders is back and your breath is going steady. And that takes those arms above your head, at least if it's doable, and get some distance in between your palms. Two more breaths. I know it's hard. And see if you can keep your balance as you unwrap right leg. Send it back as far as you can to the back of the mat. Open up your hip and find warrior 2. As always, back foot aligned with the short end of the mat. Shorten the distance in between the feet if it's too hard, typically for the front thigh. Now maybe take the back hand here and reach for the shoulder and pull this back shoulder a little bit further back so your shoulder is actually aligned with this hip. We have a tendency of leaning it forward, so move it back. And the same goes actually for the front shoulder here, aligned with the hip sockets. Try to engage your shoulders in a calming, subtle way. Just throwing them a little bit back. And one more big breath. Extend your triangle, so move your hip back, stretch the front leg, and this hip actually turns a little bit in internal rotation. And don't go for as deep as you can. Try to stay here. Engagement of the core. And then if it's okay and your shoulders are stacked, you might want to lean a little bit more to the front. This hand on the outer edge of the calves, or the foot, if you actually happen to reach all the way down. Take a look at the floor. Bend the front knee, and then take this front hand on the inside of the foot there. Now this might be a little bit too much for some, but take a look. Take the front foot, step it back into side plank. If it's too much, come down on your elbow, come down on your knee. If not, just stay here, stack your feet. Welcome to find what I call tilted tree, or another crazy variation of some of these poses. Gaze on the ground if it's easier to keep your balance this way. All right, unwrap the foot, step it back, shake the rest, not the rest, but the wrist. Downward facing dog. If you love Vinyasa rounds, go ahead and do one. Don't use all the mobility in your shoulders, which means you can let your chest sink really low down. Don't do that. Engagement of the shoulders. Pull them a little bit back towards your hip. Look to the front, heel off the mat. Either jump or walk to the top of the mat. Again, fold forward. And stay here for just a little bit. I like taking a hold of my leg here behind me. Let go. Rise up, mountain pose. This time, hands down by the side. Open up your chest. Close your eyes again. However, on concrete, I am who I am. However, on concrete, that is, God is very practical and very well known, so to say, in what continues. He says he's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And to the Israelites, they knew these guys. They were their inherited, they were their grandfather, father, so to say. So God says, I'm undescribable, but I'm also very close. I'm a part of your history. Never far away. I am the God who is never far away. That is what he is saying to Moses. And maybe we need to inhale that. Sit down a little bit in your chair again. Eagle pose, at least with the leg. This time, left leg wraps around. Remember your version with the toes down. Or up if you want to keep the balance, or all the way wrapped around. Now take your arms above your head, small bend in the elbows. Try to feel your spine. Is your hip tilted back or is it actually straight? And see if you can squeeze the inner thighs even more firmly together to actually help your balance a little bit. Let go. Slowly release left leg. See if you can keep your balance as you move it back. Warrior 2. Soften your legs, shoulders, and arms as you sink down. Get the distance in there. Take a look at your heels, somewhat aligned. And again, if you like that visual cue with the hand on the shoulder as we did the first time, move that shoulder back, maybe even your hip here. See if you can align it with your heels. So God says, I am who I am. I am the past. Maybe you look back to the backhand. God is in our history. But He's also in our present, in our center, where your body is right now, as well as in the future, where your front hand is. Triangle. Stretch the front leg. Again, hip moves back. Thigh a little bit inward rotated as you lean forward, going just for a little bit of a leaning forward to begin with. Micro bend the back knee, especially if you know you have a tendency of high back extending. And then lean more forward again. You can take a hold of your shoulder here on the top shoulder. Move a little bit back to open up, create space in front of your chest. Notice if your core is a little bit engaged, so you don't lean into the front arm, but actually you could lift it off if you were asked to do so. All right, let's go down. Bend the front knee. This front hand on the inside of the foot. Again, side planks. So step the front foot to meet the back foot. As I said before, elbows, knees welcome here. All sorts of more or less crazy versions of side plank. Go ahead and play with it. Gaze on the ground if it's hard to keep the balance. Push the floor away from you if you can. One more breath. Release. Step back. Again, shake your hand. Down dog. Optional vinyasa if you feel like it. And that's the plank if you feel like it. Going into low plank. Going into cobra up dog. And down dog. Bend the knees, child's pose. Forehead on the ground, hip moves back. Jesus actually also says in the New Testament, I am. So one of the names of Jesus is also the one that has been there in our history, is now and will be forever. Let's do a few more things here on the mat before we wrap up the class. We're going to be staying on our knees for a little bit, so I like to fold my mat. All right, tabletop to begin with. Extend your right leg back as we did in the beginning, closing up the hip, which means right hip is not extended higher up than left. So right knee, foot out, left hand out. Stay here or see if you can grab your foot behind you for a back bend. So your navel sinks a little bit down as you kick your foot into your hand. The back knee stays to the back, not going out to the side. Steady breath. Release. Hands on the floor. This right leg is still lifted. As you're going to move it back and cross the legs, this lower leg also moves around so the shin is on the ground. Your weight on your left arm lifting up right. Try to go for stacking hands to begin with. I call this mini wild thing. And then draw your hand, your pinky finger down towards the back foot. Create some length here above your shoulders. And stay with that length as you move your arm above your head, thumb down, and reach over. Lifting a hip maybe a little bit higher, using this glute or buttocks. So you're getting quite a hopefully nice side stretch. You can let your head hang or look up, whatever works. Releasing. Coming back on the mat. And if you like to do your cat, just to get any tension out of your back, please do so. Left leg out. Again, really long leg there. Feet pointing down. And make sure you don't tilt all the way out to the side. Knee and hip is still somewhat aligned on this standing leg. All right, left arm out. Stay here, navel in though. Or see if your foot can reach. Or actually, your hand can reach. Beside getting a back bend, you actually get quite a nice shoulder stretch here as well. And some strength in that standing arm. Probably feel that. Release. Cross your left leg above and that foot underneath. I can't really explain how far out to the side I like it. This distance, hand and leg, or hand and knee though aligned. Lifting left arm up towards the sky. Reaching down towards the back leg, creating length in front of your chest. From there, taking your hand, move it above your head to the front. Again, thumbs pointing down. Lift your hip higher up to get this back bend. Notice if your elbow is extended. Deepen your breath. Release. Again, do whatever works for you right now to release any stretch, pain, or sensations. A few stretches, moving down on our spine, reversed pigeon pose, which means you'll take your right leg, cross it above, so the ankle is resting on your left leg. Grab your left leg or thigh and pull it in, and this right knee is really moved out to the side. Maybe you feel something here in your glutes and hips, outer edge of your hip. You can also extend this top leg up if you like, and actually hold it a little bit. But make sure you don't lift your hip off the mat. That's not the point. The word I am in Hebrew is actually also, the letters there is Yahweh. And scholars, as far as I can figure out, still don't know exactly how to pronounce that. But I can explain an interesting theory about the name in just a moment. We just have to switch our legs. So, move around, your left leg out to the side. Hold or stretch the leg if you like. So some people have suggested that the name Yahweh, as it is hard or difficult to pronounce, and in some cultures you're not even supposed to speak it out loud. Maybe Yah is an inhale, Yah, and exhale is the. So whenever you inhale, I'm exaggerating a little bit, Yah, and exhaling. You inhale and exhale the name of God. And how cool is that if that's what's going on, right? As I said at the beginning, God might be like the air. And we inhale and exhale. I am. If you know the Ujjayi breath we use in flow yoga, very interesting because that actually says on the exhale, it has that and that snoring sound. Interesting, huh? Let go of this pigeon pose, butterfly, sole of the feet together. Draw them near towards your hip. Knees moving out. Tailbone somewhat on the ground. Also your hips, you tilt your hip or your pelvis a little bit up. Relax your legs. In a moment, we'll get into resting pose. And we'll stay there for 2 minutes. I'll put a timer up, so I hope you're in for that, 2 minutes. And I'll invite you to go back to the question I asked at the beginning of the class. What pictures you have of God, or what image, what color God might be to you. And meditate a little bit on that. If you're completely clueless, maybe picture something that's growing. For me, that's also God. Whenever I see a plant blossoming or a tree getting leaves and flowers and all that, I think of God's creative, magnifying power. So maybe you can picture something blossom. So let's find resting pose, knees together, extend your legs out. As always, feet a little bit out to the side. Hands on the floor with palms facing up. Close your eyes. And find that color or that picture. And we just started the 2 minutes of silent picture meditation. Take one big, deep inhale and exhale. Two minutes are up, and you can start moving toes and fingers. Hugging your knees, stretching your arms above the head. Opening up your eyes. Roll onto the side and into a seated posture. Thank you so much for joining me today. And God's blessings on your path. May God keep you safe, healthy, and protect you and the ones you love. Thank you for supporting me on this channel by liking and subscribing and all of these things. I see you again, I hope,